Welcome. First Kobe Talks in the beautiful Highland Hall. You get to hear some amazing speakers. To start off, we got two speakers, Bill Dugan and Dave G. I'm going to give you a little bit of background on them. I have a little write-up on them. I don't need it. They're amazing, okay? So Irvin L. Young, Chair of Entrepreneurship, I took that over, but Dugan had that for 6 years, and he led lots of entrepreneurship programs on campus, helping students launch their businesses, do incredible things on campus. Dave G joined us last year and started providing the pragmatic side of things and giving them guidance. And together they've launched a program where you have all around the country people talking about our program. So we are actually best practices with some of the top entrepreneurship programs in the country. Dugan teaches in the management area. He works with lots of entrepreneurial organizations in the state. He judges the governor's business plan competition. And Dave has now taken the Launchpad, which is our premier student incubator program, and taken it to a different level. I asked them, give me something quirky about each of you. And Dugan said he taught ice climbing when he was in grad school. So that's something else we can do. And Dave, his passion is home brewing, beer, right? And also mountain biking. So I give you Dave G and Bill Dugan.
Thanks, Shotan. And so what do you get when you put, ice climbing and beer brewing together, right? That's a great thing, right? You get entrepreneurship, I guess. We're here to talk to you about the rise of the student entrepreneur and to talk a little bit, sort of an advertisement, about the kind of programs that we have available at the university and how we're sort of addressing things that are going on, sort of trends in terms of labor market trends, employment trends, business startup trends, and how the university has come to deal with that. As Shotan said, I'm Dugan and
I'm G.
And here we go. So one of the things that we're going to lead off with, and we're sort of lead-off hitters in the lead-off show here, is that there's an extraordinary rise in terms of the inclination of millennials to start their own businesses. The degree to which, or the rate to which millennials will start these businesses has just exploded in the last 15, 20 years. And so the question is why? And I'm going to tell you a story that's kind of a labor market story, but also a story about what's going on in the general economy. Think of what role does a university have? Well, traditionally, universities were socializers of human capital so that they could take positions in sort of the middle and upper part of organizations. If you think of an organization as kind of a pyramid-shaped layer cake, right? You kind of have operatives at the bottom. Those are the folks that drive the trucks and enter the data and answer the phones. And then you have a kind of a middle layer. Those are people that process the information, traditionally, that was created by the operatives. And then you have a sort of smaller piece at the top of the cake, which are individuals that have sort of strategic and visionary control over everything that's going on in the cake. And, organizations, this sort of industrialization started, you could argue way back into the 17th century, but certainly the size of organizations exploded in the 20th century because of the mechanization and the sort of industrialization of the lower part of that cake, right? You get a substitution of individuals working on their own by machines, and so you were able to produce at a much higher scale than you were previously. And what happened with the invention of the computer is that industrialization started rolling up the layer cake, right? Now, if you're an institution that socializes people to take a position in the middle part of that cake, that means you got a little bit of a problem, right? The problem is that what used to happen in the middle of the cake now happens in a box in the corner. Right? And so what do you do as a kind of a second act in terms of socializing people to take these roles? You could socialize them then to take the role at the top of the organization, right? And that started happening. In fact, what has started to happen is that the same computing technology that replaced all those folks in the middle of the cake is now enabling individuals that are in the middle of the cake to start their own organizations, right? You've got LegalZoom to help you with legal stuff. You've got Google Metrics to help you with market research related stuff. You've got operational programs that help you with operations stuff. And so it means that in some sense, an individual who's predisposed to start their own business can amplify their efforts through software to do startups, right? And so that's what started to happen. And what started to happen all over the country is that more and more organizations, more and more universities have started to offer entrepreneurship courses and entrepreneurship programs. This institution was relatively early. Whitewater is relatively early in terms of offering this. But even 15, 20 years ago when I started, only a fraction of universities offered programs. Now you have 2,000 institutions out of approximately 4,500, 5,000 institutions in the United States are offering entrepreneurship programs. Why? Because they understand that they have to serve the needs of individuals that want to go out and start their own organizations. So we now have created programs inside this institution to take care of that. And Dave's going to tell you a little bit about the specifics of Launchpad, but we have created a means by which anyone who's interested in starting their own organization to kind of get an education in immersion, a practical sort of experience, to try to test out what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And we put together all sorts of curriculum to aid that as well. Here's a little story about the process. We have ideation, getting the idea. Then we have a whole series of classroom resources, specialized courses that help you to start your own business. We have lots of extracurricular activities. John just referred to the Enactus organization. We work with an organization called the Collegiate Entrepreneurs Organization, and there are lots and lots of business plan contests that are present now that weren't present previously that we've started to do. We have our own separate space to create the housing for entrepreneurs and to expose entrepreneurs sort of a foot inside as well as outside the institution. And then lots of external resources, access to angel funding, access to legal assistance, access to expert subject matter folks. And finally, the notion is that you roll through all these resources and you end up with a startup. Now, sometimes it doesn't work, right? And so then the opportunities are there for you to cycle back if you don't get good feedback on your idea. So I've gone a little bit long, but I'm now going to turn it over to Dave, who's going to talk a little bit about the specifics of the program.
So with our Launchpad program, it's a student startup accelerator, and we talk about our mission being educating primarily, but then we talk about acceleration and inspiration as well. And so it becomes a lab where students can actually bring forth an idea, they pitch, and then we provide them entry into the Launchpad program. It's a one-semester program. We have weekly training sessions, roundtables, one-on-ones, etc. And what we're starting to do is take a look at the distribution of these startups and where they're landing. Our initial presumption was, well, students are most exposed to consumer products, so they're probably going to land there. But some interesting things have actually started to happen. Illumicase, which is a startup that provides a smartphone case, which actually recently got a provisional patent that has a light coming out of the back. That is actually the only B2C product that we've had actually in the last 9 months come out of Launchpad. We've got Hunt Butler, which I'm presuming a lot of you have heard about. They are basically the Airbnb of hunting land. We have Level Up Football, which provides premium content football videos for football coaches. So he's got NFL player shooting videos. We have Leaguer, which is an esports, competitive sports video game portal. Intern Betas, and what Intern Betas does is they actually match up students to startups. So startups are obviously, tend not to be flush with cash, and students can get some really great hands-on experience and develop a breadth of knowledge in a hurry. And then we have infrastructure inspectors, and this also, Lucas also recently got a provisional patent on his technology, which is an arm that you attach to a drone, and you can fly it up to bridges and water towers and wind turbines and do inspections versus someone hanging off a rope and unfortunately sometimes falling off, as you can imagine. So if you'd like to learn more about the Launchpad program, a little plug there, uwwlaunchpad.org, and then obviously on Twitter at uwwlaunchpad. I'm going to try speeding up here. The Collegiate Entrepreneurs organization, which Chotan referred to and Dugan referred to, we have a national convention. We had 2 students that did really well. Alec Turnell was the CEO Student Entrepreneur of the Year. We have Derek Francis from Hunt Butler. He took 3rd out of 130 students. The chapter took best social media presence in the country. So the students are doing great things. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about CEO, uwwceo.com, Twitter, uwwceo, and then Facebook. So, 32 seconds over on time, sorry.
So the gist of our story is students are starting organizations and have the opportunity to start their organizations in greater numbers. Now more than any other time, there's resources available in the university to allow you to do that. There are resources outside the university, and we have created a bridge between the inside and the outside in such a way as to help you to take your idea to change the world. Doesn't have to be for-profit, can be not-for-profit.
Right.
And we're just as excited about both. We're ready to answer some questions you might have about entrepreneurship.
So if you have questions,
Yep.
Zach's coming around Mike.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen. I just had a quick question. Would you guys argue that the entrepreneurial spirit in the United States is more alive than ever in our history?
I mean, Dave can answer for himself. I think the entrepreneurial spirit has always been present in the United States. I think it's a part of our national character. And I think that, there's always been, rates of new business startup. But it's only until relatively recently that there have been sort of institutionalized resources where the nation understands that universities are sort of an engine for growth for that, and it's sort of changed the character of the university.
Yeah, the other thing I would add is I think more than ever before, there's a science behind it, right? So whether it's in Chotan's class and developing a business model canvas and developing business plans and having students go into national, pitch competitions, this scientific approach is actually increasing the likelihood of success and obviously enhancing the educational opportunities as well.
The best model is architecture. If you look at how architects are socialized, they are presented with successively more challenging design problems, and designing a new business is effectively a design problem. And so some of it is the experience in sort of wrestling around, immersing yourself in that problem, as well as just learning some intellectual principles.
We have time for one more question, or do we need to move on?
I think you have time for one.
Okay, one more question.
How do students get into the Launchpad? Can anybody just join it? And then, as a follow-up, how does the Whitewater Innovation Center play into the help of the Launchpad?
Okay, so 2-part question. So traditionally what we've seen is business school students applying for Launchpad, but we've had 2 MA-GED majors apply recently. We're actually reaching out to computer science, and so we have computer science majors that don't want to just be part of a team, because a lot of the startups that come to us tend to be tech-based startups. So we're reaching out to that college as well, and Center of the Arts and other colleges. So we're really trying to bring the ecosystem together. There's some institutions that the colleges tend to operate in silos and don't collaborate. We're really trying to make sure we do have collaboration. One of the fantastic things that you talked about too that is a really amazing opportunity is the Whitewater Innovation Center. So students actually get office space and get to collaborate with other regional faculty startups at the Whitewater Innovation Center, which you and Mark do a tremendous job of managing, by the way. So.
And one more piece of that is to end up in the Launchpad, there's a couple of different ways in. One is if we have a student who wins a competition, either in the university or places well outside the university, that's considered a kind of vetting of that idea. If somebody else likes it, you know, we take their opinion as very strong, and you know, it plays a very strong role in allowing them to come in. But also, if someone does extremely well in a class, they can have a way in. Or third, they can pitch us, they can contact us, and you know, we really look forward to you pitching your ideas, right? You can change the world, and we'll help you do it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.